Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Saroj Kumar Amar, working as Assistant Professor in Forensic Science Division, Lovely Professional University, Jalandhar, Punjab. I am going to focus on the module which is DNA fingerprinting techniques and forensic application under the paper heading of Forensic Science and Forensic Medicine. After completion of this module, a student will able to understand the genetic basis of DNA fingerprinting. The learner will aware with different techniques of DNA fingerprinting. The learner will know forensic importance of DNA fingerprinting. A student will also be aware with the types of evidences collected for conducting DNA fingerprinting. DNA fingerprinting, one of the big discovery of the late 20th century, has improved the forensic investigation on the basis of forensic DNA analysis, which help to convict criminals, exclude the wrongly accused, and identify the victim of crime, help in mass disaster and war. Apart from the immigration and child disputes can be solved on the basis of DNA fingerprinting. The chemical components of everyone's either animal or human DNA is the same. The only difference between people and the animal DNA is the order of the base pair or the number of repeats of the particular sequence. Due to the presence of millions of base pair of the DNA, that every person has a different sequence. Using this sequence, every person could be identified by the sequence of their base pair. These patterns do not, however, give an individual fingerprints, but they are able to determine whether the two samples are from the same person or not. Scientists are now using very small number of sequences of DNA that are known to vary among individual a great deal. The process of DNA fingerprinting was invented by Alex Jeffries at the University of Leicester in 1985. Sir Alex Jeffrey is often described as the father of DNA fingerprinting. DNA is essentially the molecule that hold all the genetic information and for an organism. The human genome is composed of over 3 million of base pair of information organized into 23 chromosomes. Genes are the region of DNA that encode and regulate protein synthesis, though these involve just 1.5% of the entire genome. A significant amount of the human genome, approximately 75%, consists of the extragenic DNA, which contain regions that do not actually contain known gene sequence. About 50% of the extragenic DNA is made up of something called repetitive DNA, which is the particular use in forensic DNA analysis. Repetitive DNA is further subdivided into tandem repeats, which include satellite DNA, microsatellites, and mini satellites. Tandem repeats DNA and the variation between them is the basis of many DNA profile tools. It is due to the number and location of this polymorphism that every individual has unique DNA which produce a distinctive band pattern which when analyzed. It is thought the extensive study of the genome that the DNA fingerprint has been introduced as a usual and reliable technique in forensic science. Now I am going to discuss the source of DNA evidence and the DNA extraction procedure. In terms of forensic DNA analysis, there is a variety of possible source of DNA evidences. The more useful sources include blood, semen, vaginal fluids, nasal secretion, and hair with root. It is theoretically possible to obtain DNA from evidences such as urine, feces, and dead skin cells, though this is often classed as the poor source due to the lack of intact cell and high level of contamination preventing the successful analysis. Such sample will be collected depending on the types of sample. Prior to analysis, it will be necessary to extract the DNA from the sample. This is generally achieved through the following simplified step with the help of chemical. First of all, the sample cells are lysed or broken down in a buffer solution. Denatured protein and fats are separated in the form of pellets through centrifugation. The clear lysate is then passed through a column when contaminating a positive charge medium that bind to DNA. Contaminating proteins, fat and salts are then removed through several washes. The DNA is recovered in the buffer solution or water. The amount of DNA is often then quantified using the spectrophotometer technique or nanodrop. Various methods of extraction are there depending upon the types of sample. The common methods for extraction of DNA is organic extraction methods or phenol chloroform methods. DNA sample for comparison are generally collected from suspect using buccal swabs, in which a sterile swab is scraped along the inside of cheek to collect the epithelial cell for DNA fingerprinting. For DNA fingerprinting, we can also collect half ml of fresh blood sample. After extraction, the amplification of DNA is required through polymerase chain reaction, that is called PCR. The amount of DNA evidence obtained during the investigation of a crime is often very small. Thus, for the successful DNA profiling application, amplification is required. Polymerase chain reaction (PCR) is a technique which allows for the exponential amplification of DNA fragments to length of approximately 10,000 base pair. This means that theoretically a single copy of DNA could be amplified to a millions of copy in a just few hours. PCR is particularly beneficial in the amplification of minute amounts or the degraded sample. A successful PCR reaction requires a number of vital primary components, oligonucleotides, primer, which are complementary to the DNA targets and mark the target to be amplified, with two primer being used. The base sequence of one primer binds to the one end of the targets while the other primer binds to the another end of the target, with the DNA between the primer being amplified. Fluorescent tags are often added to the primer to visualize the amplified DNA in electrophoresis. DNA polymerase enzyme allow the DNA strand to copy by adding nucleotides to the three ends of the primer. Other components required includes a reaction buffer with MgCl to ensure the ideal condition for the function of DNA polymerase enzyme. Deoxyribonucleotides to build the DNA molecules and template DNA. Modern PCR uses thermostable DNA polymerase. Most commonly used is Taq polymerase, which is largely replaced the previous used E. coli derived polymerase. This was isolated from Thermus aquaticus, which is an organism capable of surviving in a temperature over 70 degrees centigrade. However, the Taq polymerase lack the ability to prove read. Wnt polymerase is from the Thermococcus litoralis, which can survive in the temperatures over 100 degrees centigrade. The PCR cycle consists of 3 primarily steps: denaturation, annealing and extension. The process is generally conducted in a small plastic centrifuge tube with a temperature carefully controlled using a thermocycler. Now, I am going to discuss the steps of PCR. First one is denaturation. The sample is heated to 94 to 95 degrees centigrade for about 30 seconds. These steps is double stranded DNA by breaking hydrogen bond, allowing primer to access. Second step involves the annealing. The sample is kept at 50 to 65 degrees centigrade depending upon the primer sequence to allow the hydrogen bond to form between the primer and the complementary DNA sequences. The last step is extension, also known as the elongation step. The sample is heated to 72 degrees centigrade for denaturation for duration depending upon the length of DNA strand to be amplified and the speed of polymerase enzyme. Taq polymerase, which build up the strand, deoxynucleotides, triphosphates are added to the 3 ends of the primer. Each PCR cycle can only be 5 minutes. The procedure can be repeated as necessary until a original sequence has been amplified a sufficient amounts of time, with the amount being double with the each cycle. Following PCR reaction, the product are separated using electrophoresis. It must be taken into the consideration that certain compounds can inhibit the PCR reaction. Often the substances associated with the stage of extraction and the purification of DNA. Such substances include proteinase K, which degrade the polymerase enzyme, ionic detergents and gel loading dyes. Similarly, certain substances present in blood can inhibit PCR, such as hemoglobin and heparin. Various alterations have been made to improve the PCR methods. Multiplex polymerase chain reaction involve the amplification of numerous DNA sequences in a single reaction through the use of primer that produce non-overlapping allele size, allowing the numerous regions of the sample to be tested simultaneously. I am going to discuss the DNA fingerprinting techniques, which is RFLP technique. Restriction fragment length polymorphism was used in the first technique developed to analyze variable length of the DNA fragments produced through the DNA digestion. It exploits the variation in DNA sequence due to the differing location of the restriction enzyme sites. This method uses restriction endonuclease to digest the DNA by cutting it a specific sequence pattern. The resulting restriction fragments are then separated on a gel electrophoresis and transferred to a membrane using the Southern blot technique. After the separated DNA fragments are transferred, probe hybridization is used to detect the fragments. However, DNA analysis with RLP required relatively large amount of the DNA and degraded sample could not be analyzed with accuracy. Most effective, faster and cheaper DNA profiling technique have been developed. So, RFLP is generally no longer used for the forensic science, but restriction fragment length polymorphism is significant to find out variation in homologous DNA sequences. With the help of same restriction enzyme, two different sample is digested and the length of that fragment sequence can be revealed by electrophoresis. It was the first technique for the DNA fingerprinting. With widespread application, RFLP analysis is an important technique of molecular biology and used in paternity dispute, gene mapping, localization of gene for genetic disorder, and determination of risk for diseases. Nucleotide sequence variation is a region of DNA that generates the fragment length differences according to the presence or absence of restriction enzyme recognition sites. The RFLP fragments can be separated by gel electrophoresis. The next technique of DNA fingerprinting is Southern blotting. The Southern blotting is a technique to analyze the genomic pattern which appears in the person's DNA. Southern blotting technique involves the following step. Step 1, isolation of DNA in question. Isolation can be done either chemically or by applying a large amount of pressure in order to squeeze out the DNA. Second, the cutting the DNA into pieces by restriction enzyme. The third step is sorting of DNA, the process by which the size separation, the size fractions is done. The DNA is poured into a gel and an electric charge is applied to the gel. The different size of the DNA will be separated by size, with the smaller pieces toward the bottom and the larger pieces toward the well. The next step is denaturation of DNA so that it becomes the single stranded. Then either the heating or chemically treating the DNA in the gel. Blotting the DNA, the gel with the size fractionate DNA is applied to a sheet of nitrocellulose paper and then back to permanently attach the DNA to the sheets. The Southern blot is now ready to be analyzed. In order to analyze the Southern blot, a radioactive genetic probe is used in hybridization reaction with the DNA in question. X-ray is also useful for Southern blot after a radioactive probe has been allowed to bond with the denatured DNA on the paper. Only the areas where the radioactive probe bind to will show upon the film. This allows the researcher to identify in a particular person's DNA the occurrence and frequency of the particular genetic pattern contained in the probe. Another technique of DNA fingerprinting is mini satellites or variable numbers of tandem repeats VNTR. Variable number of tandem repeats VNTR are highly polymorphic sequence in the exon region of the DNA repeated at various points along with the chromosome with 4 to 40 times. They are about 20 to 100 base pair in length. Though the specific lengths are not strictly defined, these tandem repeats are inherited from both parents. Therefore, no one will have the same VNTR as either of their parents. The number of repeats at a locus affect the position after electrophoresis and the length of the DNA after the chromosomes has been cut with the restriction enzyme. Mini satellites were the first type of polymorphism to be used in criminal investigation in the case of British murder and rapist Colin Pitchfork. However, the VNTR are not generally used in forensic as this technique is often a more expensive process and takes the longer time due to VNTRs having a greater length than say 2 STRs. Every pieces of DNA contains genetic information called exon and pieces that the no relevant genetic information called intron. In spite the intron seems the useless, but it contains a repeated sequence of the base pair. This sequence called variable numbers of tandem repeats, that is VNTRs. Every individual has some VNTRs. Southern blot is performed to determine a particular VNTR, and then the blot is probed with a hybridization reaction with a radioactive version of the VNTR in question. The pattern which results from this process is what is often referred to as the DNA fingerprinting. A given person's VNTR come from the genetic information donated by his or her parents. He or she could have VNTR inherited from his or her mother or father as a combination, but never a VNTR either of his or her parents do not have, because the VNTR patterns are inherited genetically. A given person VNTR pattern is a unique. The more VNTR probe used to analyze a person's VNTR pattern, the more distinctive and the individualized the pattern. Or the DNA fingerprinting. The latest technique of DNA fingerprinting is STR typing, microsatellites or short tandem repeats. STR are the regions of the genomes composed of approximately 1 to 5 bases and repeated up to 17 times. STR marker will either be simple, that is identical length repeats, compounds, that is the 2 or more adjacent repeats, or complex, that is several different length repeats. They are found on 22 autosomal chromosome as well as both X and Y sex chromosomes, though those on the Y chromosomes differ less due to the lack of recombination. Only a selective number of the STR marker are used in forensic DNA profile, 10 in UK and 13 in US. They express a high degree of polymorphism, making them of particular use of the forensic scientist. The variability in STR is caused by the inaccuracy of DNA polymerase in copy the region. As STR regions are non-coding, there is no selective pressure against the high mutation rate, resulting in high variation between the different people, though there have been thousands of the short tandem repeats found in the human genomes. Only a small number are utilized in the forensic DNA analysis. STR used in forensic science tend to tetra and pentanucleotides repeats, as they are both robust, suffer less environmental degradation, and provide a high degree of error-free data. STR loci are ideal for use in the forensic science for a number of reasons. They represent discrete alleles that are distinguishable from one another. They show a great power of discrimination. Only a small number of sample is required due to the short length of STR. PCR amplification is the robust, and the multiple PCR can be used, and there are low level of artifact formation during amplification. STR currently the most used technique of all forensic marker for personal identification. Peoples differ in the length at these loci. 13 loci used in CODIS are TPOX, CSF1PO, D5S818, D7S820, D7S1179, D1S317, D16S539, D3S1358, FGA TH01, VWA D21S11 and D18S51. Now I am going to discuss mitochondrial DNA technique. Mitochondrial DNA is a circular molecules of DNA with 16,569 base pair in size, first referred to as Anderson sequence, obtained from these mitochondrion organelles found within the cells. This organelle is involved in the production of cell energy. They can be anywhere between 100 and thousands mitochondria within a cell, each one containing numerous copy of the mitochondrial genome. This sequence is entirely functional and highly conserved, so there is a very little variation between individuals, where there is a thousands base pair long non-coding D loop known as the control region, which contain two hypervariable regions referred as HV1 and HV2. The variation within these regions are generally single nucleotide polymorphism SNP. SNP do not alter the length of the mitochondrial DNA, and it is these regions that the focus on in the forensic analysis of mitochondrial DNA. Mitochondrial DNA is often subject to a relatively high rate of mutation due to its lack the DNA reparation, causing variation between the individual. The variation between these a small portion is itself not especially significant, with HV1 and HV2 differing by 1 to 3% between the non-related individual. In the analysis of mitochondrial DNA, the DNA is extracted and the HV1 and HV2 regions amplified using PCR. The base pair sequence of this region is then stabilized through the DNA sequencing. This is the compared with the Cambridge reference sequence and the difference noted. Other sample can then also be analyzed with the comparison made to establish potential similarities. Mitochondrial DNA is generally used when the other methods such as STR analysis have failed. This is often in the case of badly degraded bodies, in case of disaster or accident where an individual is too badly damaged to identify, and sometimes in taxonomy to determine the species using the cytochrome B gene. The most significant advantage of the use of mitochondrial DNA is the possibility of analyzing ever high degraded sample. If the specimen is severely decomposed to the point that it is not possible to successfully extract a DNA profile using the nuclear DNA, it may be possible through mitochondrial DNA. Additionally, only a very small sample size is required. However, the use of mitochondrial does have the disadvantage, as the mitochondrial DNA is only maternally inherited, as the mitochondria present in daughter is as same as mother. Mitochondrial DNA cannot form a full DNA fingerprint of the individual. Thus, this technique is the only beneficial in the DNA profile of the maternal relatives are available, such as the individual mother or biological siblings. Because of this, mitochondrial DNA is significantly less discriminating than the DNA typing, for example, short tandem repeats. Detecting sequence differences in also the relatively time consuming and expensive. The relevant technique is Y chromosome analysis. Much of modern DNA profiling is based on the analysis of short tandem repeats found on autosomes. However, one particular branch of the DNA analysis focuses on the amylogenin marker, the only marker on the sex chromosome useful in the analysis of Y chromosome. The Y chromosome, generally found only in males, is a small chromosome which, unlike other gene is only altered through a infrequent occurrence of the mutation. However, similarly to the mitochondrial DNA, which is maternally inherited, the combination of alleles in the instances is theoretically identical between father and son. Assuming mutation does not occur, further Y chromosome analysis discrimination is comparatively low. Y chromosome analysis is particularly useful in the case of sexual assaultment and the rape, in which the mixed DNA profile may be encountered. Numerous systems have been developed to analyze some of the STR present on the chromosome, such as Applied's biosystem Y-Filer, now the little focus on DNA database. Numerous countries have produced the computerized database containing the DNA profile to aid in the comparison of DNA fingerprints and the identification of suspects and victims. The first government's DNA database was established in the United Kingdom in April 1995, known as the National DNA Database. As of 2011, there were over 5.5 million profiles of the individual in the system. Similarly, the FBI in the US formed their own DNA database, the Combined DNA Index System, that is called CODIS, in 1994, though it was not implemented all the states until 1998. A staff member involved in the handling and the analyzing of evidences will often also submit the DNA profile to the database in case of the accidental contamination. There is the possibility of the DNA database to be shared between countries. However, some countries focus on different loci in DNA fingerprinting. The DNA database are not only used to make direct matches between the DNA fingerprints of one person, but to also conduct familiar searching. These involve the search for genetic near matches between a victim suspect and a member of their family. Those DNA profiling is stored. This technique is based on the principle that the relative individuals are likely to express similarity in their DNA profile. The first prominent use of familiar searching was in the case of British serial killer Joseph Capen, who was seized after the son's DNA profile was obtained and then linked to him. The production of the DNA database has allowed for the faster apprehension of the suspect through comparison the new crime scene sampling to those already stored in the database, providing link between the criminals and the other crimes. It has been widely used in the cold cases, in some instances providing the guilt of individual deceased after they contaminate the crime. Conversely, wrong imprisoned individuals have been exonerated through the event of now the DNA analysis techniques and the databases. There is also the potential benefits of identifying bodies that have been too badly damaged or decomposed to identify, provided the individual's DNA profiling is stored. However, despite the advantage of such data bank, there has been significant controversy related to subjects. A standard practice in the location and take to the DNA sample of an individual when arrested, but this raised concern over whether the DNA should be retained if they are found innocent. There are also worries over the innocent people being identified as a matches or a partial matches to the DNA found at the crime scene, even if they were not involved in the crime but had innocently attended the scene at some other point in the time. This particular problem is becoming increasingly concerning as the DNA fingerprinting technique become more sensitive. There are also privacy concern over the availability of sensitive genetic information such as susceptibility to certain diseases and the familiar relationship. A more administrative disadvantage of such database related to need to facility that the both large enough to store such data also has the adequate security, a combination that can prove extremely expensive. DNA profile interpretation, the primary purpose of the forensic DNA profile is to obtain a DNA fingerprint from a biological sample and compare this to profile obtained from DNA from the crime scene and individuals or the profile stored on a database. The process of modern DNA profiling includes statistically determine the chances that the two people will share the same profile by establishing how common a genotypes or collection of the genotypes is within a population. The more loci studies that greater heterozygosity or these loci, the smaller the chances two people will share a profile. However, such figures can only over a estimation of do not take the certain factor into the consideration such as biological relatives. DNA evidences tend to be presented in the term of random match probably rather than definitely statically where the two profile match or not. Practical application of DNA fingerprinting. Paternity and the maternity. A person inherits his or her VNTR from his or her parents only, thus the VNTR pattern establishes paternity and maternity. The patterns are so unique that a parental VNTR pattern can be reconstructed with the known children's VNTR pattern. Parents' VNTR pattern analysis used to solve the paternity disputes as well as a legal nationality and the instances of the adoption, biological parenthoods, criminal identification and the forensic DNA isolation from the different biological sample like the blood, hair, skin, cells, semen, vaginal secretion left at the crime scene can be compared through VNTR pattern with the DNA of suspects. VNTR pattern can establish the identity of a homicide victim either from DNA found as evidence or from the body itself personal identification. The concept of DNA fingerprinting as a part of genetic barcode to identify individual. The technology required to isolate, keep on file and then analyze millions of the very specific VNTR and STR pattern. Thanks.